Hello, dear friends. Visualizing a potential future is the way to manifest it. Opinion piece. Chain reaction. Gold backed currency. Important step, says IMF. Zimbabwe's domino effect. Transforming global economy. Transition not without challenges. Zimbabwe will not print fiat money. Let's start. The introduction of the world's first official currency backed by gold could cause a potential domino effect on the rest of the currencies that exist, after a loss of faith in traditional currencies, due to the loss of citizens' purchasing power year after year, caused by rampant inflation after decades of unbridled printing of fiat currency. Zimbabwe Central Bank fixes new currency woes. Zimbabwe Gold, or ZiG, the new currency that evolved from a gold-backed token, has performed well in the foreign exchange market but has faced difficulties in home. The bank announced on June 4th new measures to combat the black market in currency and improve its use. The Bank of Zimbabwe asked people to report illegal currency dealers or companies that refuse to accept their new currency. This is part of an ongoing effort to combat illegal currency trading, sometimes at unofficial exchange rates. According to Bloomberg, the ZiG has gained 1.9% against the dollar since its introduction in physical form. Importance. The IMF calls Zimbabwe's switch to a gold-backed currency a very important step. In his opinion, the introduction of the ZiG represents an important political action accompanied by several complementary changes, including monetary, exchange, and fiscal policy measures. The IMF also said it will send a team to Zimbabwe at the end of June, and this will be an opportunity to discuss and observe the performance of the new monetary agreement. The ZiG was launched on April 5, 2024, becoming Zimbabwe's sixth attempt in the last 15 years to establish a functional currency after previous efforts failed. Zimbabwe said it will not print more ZiGs unless they are backed by reserves, and also pledged not to finance public spending by printing money. Since the launch of the ZiG, the central bank has readjusted its benchmark interest rate from 130% to 20%. Police have launched a crackdown on illegal money changers and are also threatening to fine anyone who does not trade ZiG at the official exchange rate. But market forces will determine the value of ZiG. On Thursday, ZiG hit its highest level, 2.6% above where it started trading on April 8th. Story. This is a fictional account of what could happen in the future. Decades of rampant fiat currency printing had led to rampant inflation and loss of faith in traditional currencies. Governments and central banks struggled to keep up with mounting debt, and the average citizen saw their purchasing power decline year after year. The introduction of the ZiG was met with skepticism by some, but as time went on, it became clear that this was no ordinary currency. The value of the ZiG remained stable, even when the value of other currencies fluctuated. This stability attracted the attention of other countries, which began to realize the potential benefits of a gold-backed currency. One after another, many nations began to follow Zimbabwe's example. Firstly, it was smaller developing countries that saw the potential of a gold-backed currency to bring stability to their economy. The trend then began to spread to larger, more established nations. The advantages of a gold-backed currency were too great to ignore them. With the shift towards backed currencies, the global economy began to transform. The inflation rate plummeted and the economy became more predictable and stable. The days of economic uncertainty and the stock currency fluctuations were already a thing of the past. The shift towards gold-backed currencies also had a profound impact on the gold market. As more and more countries adopted backed currencies, demand for the precious metal skyrocketed. Mining operations were expanded to meet growing demand, and new sources of gold were discovered. Challenges. The transition was not without challenges. It was a huge task to coordinate the conversion of trillions of dollars into assets and ensure the safety and integrity of the gold reserves. But with the help of the main economic powers and the support of the general public, the project began to take shape little by little. Some countries struggled to maintain the gold reserves needed to back their currencies, prompting calls for international regulation and standards. Additionally, increased demand for gold raised concerns about environmental damage caused by mining operations and the possibility of gold price manipulation. Despite these challenges, the move to gold-backed currencies continued to gain momentum. The stability and predictability they brought to the global economy were undeniable, and as more and more countries made the switch, it became clear that this was not just a trend, but a new era in global finance. The global economy was more stable than it had been in decades, and the average citizen saw their purchasing power increase for the first time in history. And although there were still challenges to face, the foundation of a gold-backed currency provided a stable platform for future growth and prosperity. In the end, thick, the small gold-backed currency that started it all, set off a chain reaction that transformed the global economy. And although there were still challenges to face, the future looked bright for a world where the value of money was based on something as solid and durable as the precious metal. Europe. Turkey, a NATO country, shows interest in cooperating with the BRICS. The largest Russian bank is working on creating a BRICS alliance on artificial intelligence. Russia's unemployment rate hits another record low of 2.6%. Georgia decides to ban LGBT propaganda. They want that the European Union is experiencing a very serious energy crisis. Hungary calls to the EU's plan to tax Russian energy imports outrageous. German banks are preparing for million-dollar payments in response to a claim from a Russian company. The number of rich people in Spain grew by 5.6% in 2023 to 250,600. The OECD suggests that Spain experiment with a reduction in working hours. USA. Elon Musk's AI will develop a new supercomputer in Memphis. The number of problem banks increases in the first quarter, according to a new report. Trump says he's ready to go to jail after being found guilty. The Georgia Court of Appeals temporarily holds the Trump case. Tucker Carlson believes that Trump will win the election if he's not killed first, in quotes. House of Democrats Democrats of the House of Representatives accuse Big Oil of raising prices. Conflict. The New York Times confirms Ukraine's first attack against Russia with long-range U.S. missiles. The U.S. would condition a $1 million loan to Kiev repayable with the funds from frozen Russian assets. Ukrainian officials says recruits come to front poorly trained. The conflict between foreign mercenaries in Kherson ends in a shootout. The House of Representatives approves a bill to authorize sanctions to the International Criminal Court for arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. Human Rights Watch denounces the use of white phosphorus against residential buildings in Lebanon. Biden reveals that he fears about Russia defeating Ukraine. Biden believes that Netanyahu is prolonging the crisis in Gaza to stay in power. People close to Biden claim he's making his mental state worse. Americas. Biden calls López Obrador to talk about new immigration restrictions. The U.S. needs much more of Mexico to defeat the drug cartels, says the director of the FBI. AMLO affirms that Mexican markets will stabilize after the elections. Diplomat Juan Ramón de la Fuente will be in charge of Sheinbaum's transition team. The Minister of Economy of Argentina assures that the country is recovering. Colombia signs in Caracas the beginning of peace talks with the FARC dissidents. Cuba formalizes its communication law that regulates informative and advertising content. Venezuela highlights in St. Petersburg the stabilization of its economy despite sanctions. Brazil says trade ties with Russia are stronger than ever. Russia negotiates the de-dollarization of trade in American countries. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.